Okay, so the first guitar I'm going to talk about is my 1984 Gibson SG Special. Um, I've had this one for probably close to 15 years. Our dad traded for it probably close to 20 years ago. It was his for a little bit. It was John's for a little bit. Somehow I got it from John. But this is my go-to. This is the one that I got my 10,000 hours in on, and I compare every other guitar to it without even realizing it. Nothing too crazy. Won't be able to tell from that, but if you look here, it's been refinished, but whoever did the refinish did a killer job. And it originally had shawbuckers in it. I still have them around. They sound great, but they were too hot for my Fender amps. You couldn't get any volume without it just breaking the amps up. So I've got a Seymour Duncan Fat Cat in the neck and a Saturday Night Special in the bridge. And I'll play a little bit. This is the bridge position. Where it's the single and the humbucker, it's a little Fendery. And just the Fat Cat. This next guitar is probably the coolest one in my arsenal. This is either a 1968 or 69 SG Junior. Got this one from Kevin Harmon probably 2 or 3 years ago. It was one of his personal guitars. We went to a guitar show together in Columbus, and it just sat at the table with us all day long, tempting me. And by the end of the day, I had enough money to where I could buy it from him. And this is the only guitar I played for probably about a year or more. Pretty much all original. At some point, it's been refretted. I think it's got medium jumbos on it. I don't know the exact size. It was done before I got it. And I replaced the bridge because it was like notched out too much. So I've got a Mojo Axe replacement bridge. But other than that, it's all stock. Just tone for days. This is like the hottest P90 I've ever heard. This is as hot or hotter than the Super Distortions in this other SG I'm going to show here in a minute. But it just tracks so good. Okay, and the last guitar I'm going to show today is the one I've been playing out everywhere since I got it. This is my 92 SG Special. I got this one at the Columbus Guitar Show in January 2025. And on the way up, I went with Kevin Harmon and Timmy Taggett. We were just talking about what kind of stuff we were hoping we could get. And I specifically said I wanted either a bare bones SG or a Les Paul Studio that I could drop some Super Distortions in, because I had a Les Paul with Super Distortions that I played in Mirrored Image for a little while and loved the sound of that guitar and kind of regretted selling it. But I found the pickups and the guitar the same day, and just perfect neck profile, perfect weight, perfect feel, just all around great guitar. And a lot of the time I don't even bring it back up. I just this. So here's the bridge pickup. Okay, on to amps. This is my 1995 Vox AC30 TB. So back in Mirrored Image, I've tried a ton of different amps. I've tried Fenders, Marshalls, a Mesa Boogie Mark V. They all sounded really good, but to get over two other guitars and synths and running tracks, it was just always really hard to cut through. And then I got a custom classic AC30 and really liked it, and just kind of stuck with those. And being online and constantly trying to learn about gear and everything, you hear so much about this era. Whenever Korg first took over and was still making them in England, them being the closest to a 60s JMI Vox you could get without spending insane money. So I looked for probably 5 or 6 years before I found two of them. And currently one's out of commission, so this one. But it's everything I could have wanted out of an amp. Came factory with greenbacks. I left one of the greenbacks and I put a Celestian blue in it. They blend really well together. And, just the classic AC30 thing, like you have to go blue. Also, being about as close with a printed circuit board to the JMI era Vox as you can get, it's not master volume. So I'm running a SPL Tone Hunter attenuator just to knock off a little bit. I leave it usually at like -3 dB so I can, goose the amp a little bit and, get all the awesome clean tones and, what you want an AC30 for. Although my AC30 is my favorite amp that I've ever played, and it ends up on so many recordings, and I try to take it out, do as many shows as I can get away with, it's just too big, and I can't get away with cranking an amp that loud on stage if I'm, getting mic'd up and everything. So I would say 95-98% of the time, this is the amp I take with me. This is a late 90s reissue Ampeg Jet, and I swapped the factory speaker out for a Celestian Heritage 30. I tell everybody this is the Princeton killer. You can get them all day long for $400 or $500. I've never played a gig that this hasn't been loud enough, mic'd or unmic'd. It's kind of like a Hot Rod Deluxe in the way that as soon as you turn the volume on, it's insanely loud. And then after like maybe 2 on the volume knob, it's just more gain. I don't get to run it that hot, but it sounds really good. Takes pedals really well. Kind of a good hybrid between, say, a Hot Rod Deluxe and an AC30 or like a lower gain Marshall like John's amp. So this is with a blues driver on, but built-in reverb. It's okay. It's not the greatest reverb in the world, but usually I have a delay pedal on, so I'm not worried about built-in reverb on an amp. But the tremolo is unreal. This is the best amp tremolo that I've heard, at least. Alright, on to pedals. This is my current gigging board. Pretty much all of it's subject to change because, like everybody, buy a new pedal, swap the old one out for the new, see what you like better at that point in time. But I do like to consistently try to keep as few as I can get away with, just to cut down on having to worry about like a bad patch cable or a bad foot switch in a pedal, anything like that. But anyways, my signal chain from the guitar to the Korg Pitch Black to the Benson preamp. Now, this one's been on my board on and off for probably the past 2 or 3 years. It's one of my favorites. super amp like, does everything from like a clean boost all the way to like the Neil Young Tweed Deluxe imploding on itself sound. And I'll leave that on almost all the time. So like, just here's my clean. Benson preamp. Just always on. Can't talk highly enough about that pedal. There's not a bad sound in it. And this one's new to me, but I've really enjoyed it so far. This is the Old Blood Noise Endeavor's Fault. It's basically a heavily modified Klon with a 3-band EQ and a foot switchable second gain stage. And it's been great so far. So here's just gain 1. Gain 2. And then this is one of my all-time favorites. This is the Boss HM2. Anybody that I talk gear with knows I'm obsessed with Old Boss and Ibanez pedals. Like they're so fun to collect, and they were way ahead of their time. They did a ton of crazy weird stuff, but this is one of my all-time favorites. I like it for the same reason that a lot of people go to the Rat, which I also really like the Rat. That's not a dig at the Rat, but I don't know. This just seems a little more versatile to me. Like the 2-band EQ, which is like crazy powerful, and depending on the pickups in your guitar or what amp you're using, like it just reacts so differently with different scenarios. Like you can get everything from 80s power ballad solo to like blown out fuzz sounds, just all in one, depending on what you're using. I love that. But I usually don't run the Benson preamp with it. So here's it just by itself. So if I stack with it, I'll use like the whatever Klon or Tube Screamer type of thing I'm using at the time, just to tighten up the low end a little bit, beef up the mids. So here's that. Alright. And next, my volume pedal. This is a Dunlop Mini volume. I don't remember the number, but you know, the Mini Dunlop volume pedal. So in Mirrored Image again, I struggled super hard to cut through for solos because, you know, you have 2 other guitars and synth tracks, all that. It was hard to cut through for a solo. So every boost pedal I tried, every EQ or different overdrives, didn't matter. It just wouldn't cut. But I realized that setting your amp for your absolute loudest, like your solo volume, and riding a volume pedal, have it post drive so it acts like a master volume, absolute game changer. It's my foot barely ever leaves it, so most of the time I'll leave it about halfway on solo, kick it all the way down. I haven't really tried many others. I tried the Ernie Paul VP Jr., and it, you know, it was all right, but it just took up too much room. And this seems to have less tone suck, less footprint. Doesn't feel weird compared to a full size one. Like, it still feels like the regular travel of a full size volume pedal. But that's an absolute essential to me. I can't throw together a board without a volume pedal anymore. And another one of my weirdo favorite pedals. This is another Columbus Guitar Show find. I think I got it the same day as this guitar. This is the Ibanez Modulation Delay 3. So, you know, early digital, quirky, Ibanez Boss, late 80s, early 90s. Right up my alley. I love that stuff. But has modes for flanger and chorus and like a full second delay time. But I found this one sound that I absolutely love that no other modulation does. Like, it kind of does that for me. Like, it's like a hybrid of a slapback and like a flanger almost. Like the delay speed changes and modulates. Like, not much else does that. And now that I have it, I can't live without it. So here's just that. Absolute essential at this point, and I hate that because those are getting kind of expensive. I've managed to track down 2. And another modulated delay that's pretty accessible. The new-ish, I should say. This has been out about a year or two. The Boss SD3 dual digital delay. This might be my favorite standalone Boss delay pedal, but that's kind of hard because I do love the DD3 and I love the PS3, the pitch shifter delay. But for just delay sounds, this is probably my favorite because you have the options of modulation and running 2 in parallel and a tone knob, which is super handy for digital if you don't want like the crazy bright. So that's my gigging board. Okay, so this is my second board. I put this one together fairly recently just for the purpose of having it around the studio. My thinking here was just, this should work on any track with any guitar, any amp. Or say in the event we get together and have a jam session, one of our friends shows up, doesn't bring any gear. This is every conventional sound you should need, realistically. So, single chain guitar, straight to the hall amplification to Ranged Master. This is made by Richie Hall up in Ashland. Killer amp repairman, built his own really good amps, built this amazing pedal. This was on my gigging board for a while. I just felt that it goes so well with my Marshall and my AC30 that it'd be a shame not to have it here all the time. So here's my clean sound. I've got the blues driver on just because, if you know, you know, this is pretty rough with a clean guitar signal. And then Chord Pitch Black tuner. And then onto the Cosman Early Bird. I don't know if this company's in business anymore, but I've got 2 of these. This is one of my all-time favorite pedals. This is a Desert Island for me. Just a really good Marshall Bluesbreaker clone. Works with any guitar, any amp. Boss Blues Driver. Nothing I can say about the Blues Driver that hasn't already been said. It's one of the greats for a reason. And then next, Seymour Duncan 805. I'm personally not a huge Tube Screamer fan, but this is a great pedal. 3-band EQ. Works with any guitar, any amp. Honestly, I threw it on here primarily just to boost into the front of other higher gain overdrives or dirty amps. But, it does all the Tube Screamer sounds you want. Killer pedal. Super underrated. Overdrive. Another pedal I don't think gets enough love. This was on my board probably for about 5 years. This was a mainstay. I just recently replaced it with the old Blood Noise's Fault. Killer Clone, I don't feel like enough people talk about. Then next, the Dan Electro Roebuck. This is a clone of the Ibanez Distortion. Pedal I'm not super familiar with, but here recently we've discovered how great it sounds with our deluxe reverb. So, and I figured as much as we record our deluxe, this has to be on here. So this is everything at noon, stock setting, volume to unity. Then next, the Ibanez Fat Cat Distortion. This is just a really good rat clone. This was on my main board for a long time too, but the HM2 ended up beating it out just by this much. And then Boss GE7, you'll notice the Roboy painted on there. For the Prisoner rollout, we thought it'd be a great idea to have John do a painting for every single one of the songs for the booklet, and he painted some pedals for us too. So we've got this, and somewhere Dylan has a Super Overdrive painted up like this. I think it's red and green if I remember right, but I don't need a demo on EQ for you. Then another volume pedal. Like I say, I can't live without it. It's great. This is kind of half my board, half John's board. So this is John's and this is John's. But this is a Line 6 MM4. Just super good catch-all modulation pedal. So I have it set up phase 90-ish sound here. And then this is the Dimension D patch, I believe, something like chorusy. And then kind of subtle vibrato, I think VB2, always on. And super choppy tremolo. I was just trying to get as close to this tremolo sound as I could in a pedal. And I've owned this pedal 2 or 3 different times, but amazing pedal. I don't feel like I hear enough people talk about it. Like, basically, if you want all the functionality of a Strymon Timeline, but you don't want to spend Strymon Timeline money, you get a Boss DD200. Just does every good conventional delay sound you could think of. I don't know what this sound is. I believe that's a tape setting, and it sounds great. I don't even know what's in here. I haven't put presets in it yet. I'll scroll through all those. And last, Boss RV6. I don't play with a ton of reverb usually, like I said earlier. Like, I'm almost always playing with a delay pedal on, unless I'm playing like some crazy syncopated rhythm thing, which isn't super often. So I don't use reverb a ton. I believe this is on the spring setting, but whenever I do need a reverb, that's a great reverb. I would say buy that pedal just on the strength of the modulated mode by itself. Every other sound in it is good too, but I love the modulated sound. But yeah, guys, that's my go-to gear. I appreciate you sticking around if you stuck around this long, and hopefully me and John can make this a mainstay thing, like as people come up to record or as local shows pop up, just go and hang out and ask people about their gear. Have a blessed day. Thank you.